Hey guys, it's Brett. Thanks for stopping by my channel. So today I wanted to talk about subscription book clubs. During the COVID lockdown, during the pandemic, I somehow must have got it into my head that I would never see the inside of a bookstore again, or was incapable of going online and searching for a book. So I joined no less than five subscription book services. So I've had some time now with each of them to kind of formulate my own thoughts and what I think of them, which I'd like to pass on to all of you. Some of these, of course, many of them, you might know all of them, in fact. But these are just my thoughts on what I think of them. So hang tight and here we go. Okay, so I thought I would start with kind of the granddaddy of all these book clubs, which is the Book of the Month Club, which has been around forever. Book of the Month Club costs $14.99, and with that you get a selection of, now it used to be 5, but it's now 6 different choices. They run the gamut. I will go through some of what I've gotten in the past so you can see some of the stuff. They run the gamut from very commercial fiction to genre stuff. They always have at least 1 or 2 romance selections, and they also have at least 1 or 2 thrillers. They do a lot of repeat authors as well who have been successful for them. For example, Riley Sager is his books always seem to end up as one of the selections. On your birthday, they give you a free book, and any additional book you want to take within a month is $9.99. I think it's up to 3 choices. So this is what I think of them. I like that. I like them. I certainly, I think there is enough of a selection. My issue, if there's an issue, and it's a me thing, not a they thing, is that everything I just showed you, I haven't read any of it yet. I find that I order the book, it shows up, and I shelve it. Eventually, I hope to get around to a lot of them, but I also then find after a while, like, oh, do I really care about this book? Not so much. So I end up putting them either in my little free library or selling them on Pango, which, by the way, I will include my Pango link below so you guys can always check out what I'm throwing up there at any given time. But so I will continue to stay with it because I do like them as a company, and I do think they have enough interesting things for me to kind of round out the other stuff that I'm reading that they wouldn't particularly carry. So I feel like it's a good investment and one worth checking out, especially if you're someone who likes genre fiction and generates towards commercial fiction. It really could be your cup of tea. The second one I wanted to talk about is Goldsboro Books. Goldsboro is located out of London. There are 2 actual storefronts in London. They have 2 different subscription services. You can either get their basic book of the month, which covers all different kinds of genres, and I'll show you that, except for fantasy and sci-fi, which is its own separate subscription service. Goldsboro, too, they don't always have room. They only have a limited number of these subscription services. So a lot of times what you have to do, for example, I signed up to be on the fantasy sci-fi subscription service, and I still haven't gotten in. I got in fairly quickly on the regular one, though. I find that the books here, the choices, I will say, I have mixed reactions to. Some of the things I've liked, other things I've loved. What I will say about Goldsboro, and the reason that I will continue to stick with it, at least for now, the editions are absolutely beautiful. They do their own editions. I'm going to show you some of these now. This is like the Cartographers by Peng Shepherd, but you can see absolutely beautiful ends. All of their editions are numbered and signed, so they're immediately creating collector's items, as well as packaged, with the cellophane wrappers. It's almost a joke when you receive your book in the mail because it is so heavily wrapped with bubble wrap. I wonder if there's any in the rest of the world after they sent out their mailings. But again, beautiful, beautiful, absolutely stunning editions. This is completely worth the price of the membership. Again, these are all from the regular subscription service. They also give you, because of that, a discount on anything else you want to go in and get from the store. If there's a particular book that's not featured as one of the monthly selections, you get a discount on anything else as well, and I've certainly taken advantage of that. This is one of the selections from the Fantasy Book Club, which I'm not a part of, but it sounded so good, so I actually went on eBay and ended up buying this. But again, just to give you a taste of the kind of quality of stuff that they do, it's really beautiful. So for me, this book club, even though I don't love everything that they put out, I don't think there's any way to love everything any of these places put out. I will completely stick with this one, at least for now. The third book subscription is Ann Patchett's Parnassus Books. This I really was excited about because she was selecting really great writers. They all are first editions that are signed by the authors, and like I said, most of them have been picked by Anne herself. And when you get the books, there is usually there's a note enclosed inside. But here are just some of the recent selections that they have picked. All of which, a lot of these things are interesting. Like this, Lee Coles, for example, had never heard of him. Actually, I had not heard of her either. So there's a lot of new authors as well as more familiar authors. So my thing about this book club is, if I lived in Nashville, which is where it's based, I would totally stick with it, primarily because I can go pick my book up. But I've just gotten to the conclusion that ultimately, I think it's pricey when you're also incorporating shipping to get a book that's signed, that a lot of them I could care less about. So I feel like if there's a book that I really want that's a signed edition from an author, I will go seek that book out. And as much as I think, for example, that the final 4 selections they have for the remainder of the month are really interesting, 3 of the 4 I've either got from NetGalley or I have been sent something from the publisher. So I don't even need a copy of them. So as of the end of the month, that is one I'm going to cancel. But if you are someone who likes first editions, likes signed copies of books, and there are plenty of people I know who collect that kind of stuff, they do get really good picks. And if you're not opposed to paying for shipping, it averages out to a little over $30 usually a month for it. Then this could be the book club for you. But just for me, making cutbacks, this is one of the ones I will be cutting back. The fourth club I wanted to discuss is called Literati. This is the most recent of all these clubs, and when it was announced, I thought this sounded really interesting. The idea behind Literati is to create an online book club from all over the place. So you sign into an app. They have now 14, I believe, of what they call ambassadors. Those are authors or just public figures who have been picked, who choose month to month what their particular club is going to read. These range from people like Roxane Gay to Richard Branson, Steph Curry, Malala. There's a wide variety of people, so you're getting a wide, different variety of books and clubs. If you start with one person and when they announce their next book, which is always the middle of the month, you don't like it, you can always switch to another club and join in on that conversation. Generally what happens is during the course of the month, the ambassador sets up a schedule that you can check in, you can read at your own pace, and there's a whole thing in the app so you don't get exposed to spoilers if you're not as far as other people are in your club. And then towards the end of the month, a lot of them, I know Roxanne Gay was amazing at it. She always had Zoom calls with her club and the author from the book that was chosen that month. So it's one of those things where you can get certainly very involved, and it's an incredibly immersive book club. My kind of issue with it is, as somebody who reads a lot, there were a lot of the books that I had already read, so I'd find like, okay, well, do I just want to get this book and discuss it, which sometimes happens, like Hernan Diaz's Trust I'd already read. I also have a real life book club that meets, so I didn't need that, kind of part of myself satisfied, and where I like the idea and I like what they're doing, ultimately it's not something that long term is something I am interested in. So that's something that I am stopping as well at the end of the year. When you sign up for a year membership. So mine will be up right at the end of the year, and I'm not going to stick with it. But for somebody who doesn't have access to a book club and would like that kind of feeling, someone who would want a wide variety of selections, and they absolutely do month to month that you can switch through, they have that, and that could be a good club for you. My final club that I want to talk about is called Illumicrate. Illumicrate is based also in the UK, but they ship to the US, obviously. Their bread and butter and what they're really known for are fantasy books that they curate. They do their own versions of whatever books they choose. When you sign up, you can get just the book, which is what I do, or they put a box together which contains the book, some pins or artwork or different kind of collector-y type things. It's very popular. Again, it's one of those things where there's a wait list, at least when I first signed up, to get in. But I'll show you some of the kind of stuff they do. And they're all, like I said, mostly a fantasy sci-fi books. All of them, of course, are signed by the author. They're the kind of things that are immediate collector's items. And for example, I just sold two books from there on Pango, and they weren't cheap, by the way. And I had no sooner hit post to my page than I got an alert that said that somebody had bought one of the books, which I had never even heard of the book, but clearly there is a very kind of ravenous audience for these books. But they also offer you, as a member, they do a lot of just special editions of a lot of books that people love. For example, T.J. Klune's House on the Cerulean Sea and his most recent book, Under the Whispering Door. They put this collector set together, both of which are signed. Absolutely beautiful. So you get first access to all of these before they go on sale to the general public. The downside is you're getting books and paying quite a bit of money for a book that you've never heard of. For example, this, which, okay, beautiful cover, incredibly well designed, and it's certainly going to expose me to something that I haven't heard of. But sometimes if the book is just kind of, you've paid a lot of money for that. But again, that's the risk with any of these things. It's kind of inherent. But Babel as well was the edition from Illumicrate, which you've seen me showcase this in my last few videos. So for me, for now, I'm going to stick with it, also because I've seen they've just sent out an email with a lot of what's coming down in their pipeline, and all of it looks interesting to me. So it's absolutely worth it. So to recap, for me, the three that I'm sticking with are Illumicrate, Goldsboro Books, and Book of the Month Club. I'm losing the other two. I will put links below with all of the clubs so you can check them out yourself. I hope this was informative to you. If you belong to any of these, or let me know what your thoughts are. And if you have any other questions about any of the clubs, I will certainly try to answer them. Leave them below. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys all soon.